Okay, hello, I am back. And if you're watching this, I am assuming that you too are back. So welcome back. This video is going to be focusing on the highest difficulty level of this week's event, a Final Fantasy XII event, so it features characters and battles from that game. And I'm drawing a blank here. So, the thing that I always, every time there's a Final Fantasy XII event, I find the bosses a complete pain in the butt. They have all kinds of annoying mechanics, immunity phases, a host of status ailments they throw at you, and then to top it all off, they usually resist all but one element, or, in the case of a lot of the higher level ones, every element. So, that's just, I know it's just basically me whining, because there's so many ways around it, but it's a pain in the butt. They're always trouble. So this week, anyways, after me finishing whining there, the 220 level, the Apocalypse Plus boss is King Behemoth. And he is very cool looking. Look at how cool he is. But he's a pain in the butt. Target score here is nothing special. There's no strange conditions to be met in the battle. Just finish the battle with 3 or more heroes, not KO'd. Should be doable. As for his repertoire, starts with uses attacks that inflict slow. Annoying, but there's workarounds for that, so I'll just have everybody equipping accessories that resist slow, and hopefully that'll be enough. Next, begins the battle with Protect, Shell, Haste, Regen, and Reflect. That's annoying, because now I have to slot in either Dispel or Banishing Strike on somebody. Still not the end of the world, but that's a slot that could be going to something else. Next, uses Paling, which makes it immune to physical attacks for a few turns. Annoying, but again, we can work around just by not using physical attacks. Oh, but uses Anti-Magic, which makes it immune to magic attacks for a few turns. This guy's annoying. So I am still going to go with a mage team. I could use a mixed team and just switch up my offenses when he goes into immune phases, but I'll just wait him out. It's not that big a deal. It just makes things take longer. So, moving on, uses Apocalypse White Breath when HP gets low, which has a high chance to stop and ignores defense. So we have an AoE attack that ignores defense and has a high chance of inflicting stop. That's annoying. So I'm going to bring Affliction Break, which will cut the stop chance in half. And I think I'll use Larsa as my healer because A, he gets a buff for being an FF12 character, and B, his burst comes with a party-wide Astro effect, so that should help with the stop. Okay. Only uses physical attacks when Paling is up. Who cares? It only uses magic attacks when anti-magic is up. Who cares? Occasionally counters physical attacks when HP is low. Cares. Always counters physical attacks when Paling is up. Who cares? Always counters black magic attacks with Holy when anti-magic is up. Pretty much who cares, because why am I using any attacks on him when his Paling or anti-magic is up? Actually, no, I will be attacking when his Paling is up because I'm using magic. But yes, I shouldn't be attacking him when he has his anti-magic barrier, so who cares? So, moving on to elemental resistances. He resists fire, ice, lightning, earth, wind, water, holy, dark, and poison. Complete omni-resist. 50% resistance to every element. That's annoying. So, I could either go with an Imperil strategy and push him up to a 20% weakness for one element with a fair bit of work. Or I could just try a non-elemental strategy, which is what I'm going to do. Like most high-level bosses, he has a 50% resistance to stat breaks. No big deal. No debuffs work on him. pretty much expected that. But yeah, overall, pain in the ass. Final Fantasy XII bosses are always like that. So, onto my party, which I've already set up, so you don't have to worry about sitting through me figuring out who to use and why and what they're going to use. But I'll just break down really quick here why I'm taking this bunch. So Alphinaud's going to be my main source of damage using Behemoth and Neo Behemoth because they're both powerful multi-hit non-elemental abilities. And his Ultra Terra Flare. Now, the entry, which is 7 Summon Magic, Wind and Dark attacks, that's going to be resisted, but he goes into Dreadworm Trance, which increases the damage of his Summon Magic abilities, which is nice. And then when his X mode, the Dreadworm Trance, ends, it triggers Death Flare, which doesn't say here, but Death Flare has its damage increased based on how much damage by summon attacks is dealt during the X mode. Did I explain that okay? Anyways, while X mode is up, you use a bunch of summon magic, do a bunch of damage, and then Death Flare's damage is calculated based off how much summon damage you do. Now the cool thing about Death Flare is it basically ignores all resistance. It has no element, and the damage is fixed, so it can't be resisted. Doesn't matter if the boss has shell up, whatever. It's always going to deal the same damage. So that's hopefully going to be my main source of damage in the battle. It's that Death Flare. Now, moving on. X-Death. Why is X-Death here? Because he's got white and black magic, so I'm putting Dispel on him, so he's going to take out the boss's buffs right away. And then he's going to use Flare for offense, because again, multi-hit, non-elemental attack. Very nice. And his Ultra, which deals 6 dark and non-elemental magic attacks to all targets, temporarily absorbs enemy black magic and white magic, and raises the magic and mind of all allies a moderate amount. So he's going to be buffing himself and Alphinaud, and hopefully absorbing a few stray spells here and there. Nice. Larsa, my healer. He'll be using Affliction Break to hopefully cut down on the boss's stupid status ailments. And he'll be wrathing up to get his soul break up faster and using his burst, which restores a large amount of HP to all allies. That's pretty common for healer. Well, I mean, that's the standard for healer burst soul breaks. Grant them a barrier that enables them to avoid 1 debuff, so that's the Astra effect, and that is fairly rare. Not many soul breaks have it, so it's pretty valuable, especially since he can use Wrath to Wrath up to another burst if he doesn't need to do healing in between. And then his burst commands are fairly standard: an instant cast very large heal to one target, or a small heal to the whole party. So he can either emergency heal somebody really fast if they need it, or just top up everybody's HP. That's Larsa. Ferris is going to be my debuffer, and this is probably the first time I'll use a debuffer on video, because debuffers suck ass on Magicites because they have an 80% resistance to them. But here, she's going to be good. Boss still has a 50% resistance, but anyways. So she's using Enfeebling Jitterbug, which temporarily lowers the attack and magic of all targets a large amount. That's 50%. That's really nice. The downside is Enfeebling Jitterbug only lasts about 10 in-game seconds. So most debuffers need to be rotating this about every second action or so to keep it up. Also kind of sucks because there's not many people that can use 5-star dances. Total of 9 there. Anyways, the reason why Ferris is good is because if she's fully dived through her Legend Sphere, she gets Forgotten Family, which increases the duration of stat debuffs generated by the user and the related effects a moderate amount. So that translates to Enfeebling Jitterbug lasting about 14 seconds, which doesn't sound all that special, but it makes a pretty big difference for when she's rotating her her debuffs and other actions that she needs to do. So yeah, that's why I'm using her. Power Breakdown's pretty standard. Greatly reduce attack of one target with a little bit of damage as well. Again, that's 50%, so taking the boss's resistance into account, Enfeebling Jitterbug and Power Breakdown will be keeping his attack down by 50%. She also has her Ultra, which deals 6 physical attacks, high chance to interrupt their actions, but a boss is immune to that, and lower their attack, magic, defense, resistance, and mind a moderate amount, so 30%, which is cut to 15% with the boss's resistance. So once she has all 3 of those active, that's a total of 65% reduction on the boss's attack, so his physical attacks shouldn't be hitting all that hard once she's got everything on board. So yeah, that's why we're using her. Ramza, he's doing 2 things and 2 things only, basically. He'll cast his Ultra at the beginning, raises the attack and magic for all allies moderate amount and defense small amount, so 30% for attack and magic, 20% for defense. But more importantly, remove the delay from their actions for 1 turn, so everybody gets 1 turn of instant cast. And that means I can get set up pretty much immediately. Very nice. After he does that, he's going to be wrathing up till he has a Soul Break bar charged, and then using Entrust to pass it to Alphinaud, so Alphinaud can continually rotate his Ultra Soul Break. The cool thing about that, if we look at Terraflare here, if he is in his X mode and he recasts Terraflare, that automatically sets the Death Flare off. And the really cool thing about that is the timing of it is Terraflare will go off, that'll set the Death Flare off, and because the Death Flare is summon magic damage, it counts for the next time Death Flare goes off for the damage calculation. So every time he casts it, he's getting the benefit of increasing the damage of his next Death Flare. Makes it really easy to cap the damage, so that's the ideal, is we'll be recasting Terraflare before his X mode ends each time. Okay, I think that's enough chatter. I guess party-wide stuff just bears mentioning. Everybody has slow resistance, and I think that's everything. We're good to go. Oh, I guess one thing. For record materia, I have X-Death and Ramza with the start with fully charged 2 Soul Break charges, so they can use their Soul Breaks immediately. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's start the battle. Oh, we gotta choose a roaming warrior. Ha! So we're gonna be looking for Tyro's brand new, there it is, Divine Veil Grimoire. So this is Wall, so a really large boost to defense and resistance, and then Haste, Protect, and Shell on top of that. In case you're wondering why I didn't have Protecta or Shelga on any of my characters, because we're getting it from the roaming warrior. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this works. God, I hope that wasn't too much talking. It was probably too much talking. I wonder if I have the speed set to 5 or to 1. Should probably be on the lower end. We'll find out when the battle starts. It's at 1, good. That is a cool looking Behemoth. So that's a good sign. Even with just one magic buff, Alphinaud is almost capping with Behemoth. And here comes the second magic buff. I could probably just have passed right there. Oh, is his spells natural and not black or white? That's annoying. Okay, so it looks like X-Death isn't going to add much to this battle then. Because that was holy and that did not get absorbed. Boo, I hate that. Alphinaud goes up. Oh, it didn't last very long though because everybody has pretty high mind stat. I guess that's good. He's immune to physical attacks, but we don't care about that. She'll just wait. What is my game doing? I feel like it's gonna crash pretty quick here. I think this might have been a bit too early. Might do nothing. Stat debuffs might still apply. I can't remember. At least he's not hitting very hard. Ah, dual cast on Neo Behemoth. Excellent. What is up with the music? Paling's gone. Okay. See what happens if we set off that Terra Flare, or that Death Flare early. Please don't go anti-magic before it goes off. Not this time. Now Death Flare. Yes. should pretty much be it. Yep. There we go. Alphinaud kicking butt against an annoying boss. Could have been a lot worse, definitely.